talked about the chemistry kind of building on this team and maybe being at another level when they all get on that same page. You had a kind of mixed bag on the road. Do you feel like that's definitely building more as you're switching up lines too?
Yeah, I think so. Just like probably just on ice chemistry. I think the guys have got to know one another here pretty well. I've liked the mix of a couple good road trips in there, and then also now this will be our second big homestand since the deadline too. So gets guys sort of acclimated to all their surroundings here. Guys get settled in, like Brock and Coyle got their families in, this week. So that's I think that's all good. It's healthy for the players, and still being able to go out on the road and spend some time together and get to know one another off the ice, I think, is also important. And just mixing up the lines a little bit, we're seeing some good chemistry. Like I like the Brock Nelson line once Lehkonen and Nekash went there. I think they had some really productive games on the road.
We saw G skating in a red jersey before. Just what's the update on him?
He's day-to-day, so skated today. We'll see what tomorrow brings. I don't know. And same thing with EJ. He had a little tweak, lower body, so he's on a maintenance day today as well, so we'll see on him for tomorrow too.
Going back to that second line you just talked about, there was when Netchus first got here, him partnering with Nate seemed like a really good fit, but to your point, it seems like that second line's working well. Is that his versatility, or is that the fact that you guys have so many players now that you can kind of mix and match and they all work together?
Well, I think both. I think Marty's been really consistent, since coming over to us. Does some things really well that I think can help any line. Transportation of the puck and being able to get it in ozone and have a controlled entry and still set up to play ozone play where you don't have to necessarily forecheck it back, I think is one of his biggest strengths, and he's using that on all the lines, ability to make plays and use his line mates. He's pretty dynamic in that regard. So I want to be able to mix those lines up just in case of matchups and whatnot on the road. I don't want to throw a line together come playoff time that hasn't spent any time together. I want them to at least be familiar with one another, practices, games. So there's still some of that experimenting going on, but I think right now, just looking at what I know, I think he can play on either one of those lines and help.
Right about, I guess, right at the beginning of this, what we call it, hot streak or whatever, Ross was probably, I talked to him right after the St. Louis game. He was very visibly frustrated just with himself, with everything, right?
Yeah.
Did you talk to him, or did the coach, the assistants talk to him at that point, and has anything changed over the last month other than, obviously he's getting a lot more points, but just what is?
Well, I think Charlie Coyle, that's the change. I think the stability, they've found an instant chemistry as soon as Coyle went on that line. I think and all three of those guys are playing really good hockey. I think Colts has ramped up his game a little bit, but it's also the identity of that line. They're playing to it. They're a really connected group. They're physical. They're hard to play against down low, protecting pucks. And one thing that line's doing probably better than any other line is, on their down low cycle, they're bringing it to the net, and they're putting bodies at the net. So they've been a handful in low attack situations, and we always have the option to use their D. We use them a lot. They lead the league in ozone time by a defense core, by scoring chances, all of that, and but being able to also have a low attack and play hard minutes and grind teams down low is a strength of theirs, and they've been using that strength. So his game's ramped up, but I think just the overall line is they're enjoying playing with one another, and it's showing.
With some of these injuries to the back end, Sam Malinski has had to absorb a lot of responsibility, and one of the things you've talked about with him has been consistency.
Yeah.
What have you seen from his play lately?
It's better. It's like when when we've elevated him in past, he hasn't shown very well. As opposed to what he does for us when we manage his minutes and really sort of pick his opposition and his deployment, he's been good. He's been really good. And then when he's been elevated up in lineup, he hasn't been as good as he's been when we're doing that. So, but I feel like this time, so that's a big growth for him. Like now he's playing with Lindgren. They seem to be playing really well together, and not only on the defending side of it, but he's just more involved again, like up ice, and it's showing up in his contributions to our scoring chances, right? He scores a big goal the other night, jumping up in the play again. So I like the fact that he's showing well, especially this time of the year, because you're probably going to have injuries at some point. We're going through it now, and it's not mid-season, games where you never know what you're going to get from a competitive standpoint on a nightly basis. These are playoff games for every team that we're playing, including us, right? Like we're trying to stay ahead and move ahead of probably 6-8 teams in the standings, just to, in case we get to where we want to go. Home ice could be a factor, and we're trying to define our game and sort of hone in on all the details of our game. So it's important to us, but it's also important to all the teams we're playing. Like that road trip, mid-season might not have been that important, but Ottawa's in the mix, and Montreal's in the mix, and Toronto's fighting for first. Like you're getting every team's best at this time of the year, and this homestand will be no different. Like there's every team we're playing is fighting for something now.
It's probably been a few years since Logan was a healthy scratch. Does that have more to do with just getting the other guys involved, or
it's certainly not his play. Their play's been outstanding. That line, Drury, Kelly, and O'Connor have been lights out. So that's just making sure we got all 23 guys involved. It's been really good getting Middleton back in. He missed some time with the depth of our D-core, and he's played really well coming back in too. So all good signs for our team right now. I think we're firing on all cylinders, and there's still areas of our game that we want to continue to improve, but the analytics and the eye test from last segment was our best segment of the year, and especially on the defensive side of things.
We've talked a lot about communication on the ice, and I talked to, I think it was Coyle that said that communication creates energy. Is that kind of what you're seeing the most out of them being able to communicate better on the ice?
Yeah, it helps with the energy. I think like when everyone, because you can tell when everyone's engaged, right? And they're an active participant in your team's success. Like that's what communication tells you. You're not just talking to talk. Like you can tell what they're saying is meaningful stuff and helpful stuff, and there's a little emotion involved in that. It also eliminates confusion, right? So if you're talking on the ice in defensive situations, it's because you're trying to solve problems and make sure your coverage is good, and it's all helping. Every little bit helps.
I guess we just wanted to chat with you a bit. Coming out of the Four Nations break, the production has gone up. You've seen your minutes go up. I guess just how are you feeling? Was that break something that felt like you made a difference for you?
I think for sure, yeah. It just kind of take some time to recharge and get my energy back, get my body feeling good. And yeah, I guess I just feel good on the ice right now.
What do you think the biggest difference was in all of that? Mental rest or physical rest?
I mean, both for sure. I think mental is a huge part of it. And I guess I was able to kind of reflect on the way I was playing and just realized there was more opportunities to jump up in the play than what I thought. So, yeah.
Having a guy like EJ come back in the fold, he and I were chatting about you a couple days ago about him talking to you about, hey, don't be afraid to make mistakes, jump in. How nice is it to have a guy? I know this is a veteran lineup, but like to have a guy like EJ who is coming from being more of a coach, teacher in Philly to kind of be someone to lean on.
Yeah, he's been super good. Obviously, having him back here, just a guy that I'm able to lean on as kind of a mentor, and just kind of fun to have around the room too.
We hear about that jump going to the NHL and the NHL schedule and that number of games. Did you feel like that was something that you were feeling going from college and AHL where it's mostly on weekends to it's every other night?
For sure, yeah. I don't think I realized how much different the schedule in the NHL really is compared to the American League. And, so I guess that was maybe wearing on me a little bit throughout the season, but I guess that's just kind of how it is first year in the league.
One thing Jared Bednar mentioned in rounding out your game is becoming more physical in your head. What does that look like in execution?
Yeah, I think obviously I'm not the biggest guy going against bigger players, so just have to maintain good body position and make sure I'm boxing guys out. So yeah, that's something I'm gonna have to do moving forward here.
That way of defending kind of reminds me of Taves and Gerard and things that they do well. Do you look to them specifically?
For sure, yeah. I mean, both those guys defend super well, and I've been able to watch them all this year and last year too. So yeah, watching how they defend with their feet and their sticks is pretty special.
What has stood out to you about the back end with the addition of Ryan Lindgren that he kind of adds differently?
Yeah, I mean, he's just a good, solid player all around. Like, he's easy to play with. Like, I feel like he's just always talking on the ice, always in the right position, making the simple play, getting the puck up ice, and yeah, he's good to play with.
Just always like start, being back in Montreal. How was it? Just I'm sure it's nice to always get back in front of friends and family.
Yeah, it's cool. It's a cool building too. Obviously, I'm from there, but yeah, I think that building's up top 3 in the league for me. Everyone's on top of you, and it's good ice. So it was fun to see some friends and family and go to dinner with a couple guys.
I don't know if you heard, Jared told us the other night that you were the one who called on Brock Nelson to go out there in the shootout. How dialed into all that kind of stuff are you?
Yeah, I watched probably a little too much hockey. But yeah, no, I've seen, obviously I played with Montembeault for years, so, and I've seen Nelly score when I was playing on the halves with that move, so kind of knew Montembeault had trouble with that little route he does with the left side coming back in. Yeah, kind of Nelly picked a 5-0 in the little glove. I don't know what sort he was going to pick, and he picked the right one.
How did you assess the road trip on the road?
It was good. Obviously, that Toronto game kind of stings the way we lost that one, but great answer in Ottawa. The way we played on a back-to-back was very good, and we had good 52 minutes in Montreal, other than that little last stretch in the third. But yeah, I thought it was a pretty good road trip for 3 and 4.
Did the end of the Montreal game feel at all similar to what happened against Dallas here at home? Like, was there a common thread maybe in the breakdown late in games?
Yeah. It's hard to pinpoint something that happened, but yeah, when you have a 2-goal lead, 3-goal lead, you got to find a way to kind of just shut that down, even if they get 1 or 2. You don't want to let them tie them up. But yeah. It's part of the game. They give us a good push and they capitalize on their chances. But yeah, when you have that kind of lead, you want to hold the fort a little bit better.
I know Gabriel Landeskog has been around the team over the last couple of seasons, but now being a part of team practices, what's that been like from your perspective?
Yeah, it's a positive for us. It's cool to see our captain on the ice skating and doing drills that we do. Obviously, he's been out for a very long time, and it's hard on him. So I'm sure he's having a good time skating with us too, and he's enjoying it. And but like I said, it's a positive to see our captain skate.
How does he look to you?
Looks good. Again, I wasn't here when he last played, so it's hard for me. I remember playing against him, but he looks very good. So we'll keep doing his stuff and keep rehabbing, and hopefully we'll see him soon.
What's it been like getting to know him as a captain?
Yeah.
Even though we can't necessarily get games with you guys?
Yeah. Off the ice, he's a great guy. He's one of those persons that has a presence in the room, even though he's not playing right now. You know when he's in the room, you know when he's talking, everyone listens, and yeah, he's a calming effect in our room, even though he doesn't play.
Are you excited for him?
Yeah, for sure. You're always excited. He was a top player in the league, a top player on this team, and he helped this team win a Stanley Cup and was a big part of that. So every time you have the hope of adding someone like that at some point, it's positive, and we're excited for him.